What do you think of the turnout over here, by the way? It's pretty nice, isn't it? Russ and the team that put it together, my hat's off to you. This is a great turnout. I've been over in the Solution Center, although very briefly, as folks are still setting up. And it's quite exciting to see all the folks that are here and just to see the enthusiasm and the buzz that's created out here. When we came into, when the Brown administration came into office over here, one of the things that we decided we were going to do is to put a lot of emphasis on building up the skill set and the capacity of the state's IT workforce in order to make sure that we're ready to support government not only into the 21st century in the next few years during the governor's administration, but beyond that. And so these sorts of events, whether it's this event, whether it's the Cloud Forum, the CIO Academy that's coming up next week, are really aimed at that, at really building up the skill set of the state's technology workforce. And really, to do it in a way that's kind of innovative for government, in a way that we're doing it in partnership with our private sector partners. I know your company is called Public Sector Partners, but really this couldn't be done without the partnership of the private sector. So I want to thank all of you who have sponsored, who've participated, who are participating in the Solution Center and on the Planning Committee. So how about a warm round of applause for those folks? So before saying a couple of words about this forum, I did warn Russ I was going to do a little bit of a commercial, and it's going to start out with a little bit of audience participation. I want to see the hands of those of you that are in the public sector that are here in attendance today. Can I please see a show of hands? So, thank you very much. So as Russ said, we do have other forums coming up, and they are built around specific technology topics. And the idea is to really get folks that are in the public sector up to speed and up to their skill levels in those areas. One of the other things that we have is right before you go into the Solution Center, we have a table set up there where we're also showcasing our e-learning subscription service. So for you that are in the public sector, go by and check it out. It's called PACE. You can pick up a free trial there. 10-day trial. So I encourage you to go over there, and you don't have to wait for these forums in order to build up your skill set and your education. Now let's see a show of hands for those of you in the private sector that are here. All right, so this is for you guys. At that very same table, the other thing that we're doing out there is we are recruiting for folks that want to come in and work for government. One of the if you go by there, you're going to see some job opportunities out there. And one of the things that I have to tell you is we actually have been fairly successful in getting people from the private sector to come in to work for government. I don't know if it's just a frustration thinking, you know what, I can do this better than those guys. Or maybe folks that are ready to look for a second career, maybe folks that have retired out of the private sector or don't want to live in a plane anymore or live in airports. But there are really good jobs in government, and they are available, and we're out here recruiting. We want you to come in and help us make government more responsive, more accessible to its citizens, and more effective. And we want you to help us build our 21st century government. So please make sure you stop by, take a look at the job announcements. They look like this. I just realized that these are actual pictures of real folks, including yours truly up here. So we have opportunities out there in a number of different departments. And each one of these forums that we're going to do, we're going to have a recruitment table out there because we really do want to build up the state workforce. Okay, enough of the commercial. Now let's talk about this forum. Why is California looking at cloud computing, and why are we moving in an area that's really kind of new to government? Maybe not so much to other governments. The feds are out in front of us. In some cases, some local governments are in front of us. But California is a very large government organization, and for those of you that have been watching, we've been slowly but steadily moving into the cloud. It started a couple of years ago with our cloud email services, and now through OTECH, we're looking at moving very quickly and very emphatically into the cloud. And so the question is why? Why are we spending the money? Why are we spending the effort to put on a forum specifically dedicated to the cloud? And I think the answer to that is if you look at the pace of government generally, it's starting to pick up. Those of you that are in the health and human services area, you're familiar with some of the program and policy areas that are being pushed at a very rapid clip there. For example, our health benefit exchange and the the President's Affordable Care Act, those agencies are challenged with putting in place a program that's very significant, that's going to impact a lot of people in California, but they got to do it very quickly. And it's not limited just to that program area. If you look at what's happening in our public safety areas, we have the realignment of our justice system, where we have a massive change in terms of what's going on in the way we administer our inmate programs, in the way we administer our criminal justice programs. We're realigning where many of the responsibilities are shifting between the state and local governments. And there's a whole number of different areas. In our transportation side of the house, we've got the high-speed rail that's now picking up speed, right? So government is challenged to take on and put up new programs and take on new disciplines and do it very quickly. As I've said in many of my presentations, nowadays government is so reliant on technology that without the technology being in place, those programs and those policy changes really don't have a prayer of being implemented and being effective. So that's why we're looking at the cloud. The cloud offers an opportunity in a computing model that's, one, economical, it's flexible, you pay as you go. So, you know, those of you that have been around a couple years know government has been challenged in its budget. It gives you an opportunity to put in place an infrastructure that's flexible, responsive, and you can do it quickly and you can do it in a cost-effective manner. That's why we're looking at the cloud. Be aware of this. We are moving into the cloud. We haven't, like the feds, we haven't yet adopted a cloud-first policy, but we are moving into the cloud, and it is coming. So what I want from all of you today, especially those of you that are here in the public sector, is pay attention. Ask all of the speakers. We have a wonderful set of speakers that are coming up. Ask them questions about how do you implement this? How do you address some of the challenges that we all know are there? You know, there's new models. How do you procure in a cloud environment? How do you pay for it? How do you deal with security? Ask them a lot of good questions and really ask yourselves, how can my agency, how can my program, how can my different areas of responsibility benefit from the cloud? When you have public sector speakers, such as our folks from OTECH, ask them how they're going to address some of those challenges as well. Other than that, I would say spend a lot of time networking, spend a lot of time learning from each other. Go over into our Solution Center and go over and talk to the folks that are over there and ask them what have other agencies, what have other sectors of government done, and how have they implemented the cloud. So other than that, I would say welcome to the forum. Make the most of this day. Enjoy it. Don't forget to stop by the table, and don't forget to pick up our job applications over there. And make sure you fill them out and turn them in. Okay, so let me introduce you now to your executive sponsor, Director Ron Hughes from our Office of Technology Services. He is, as I said, the executive sponsor of the event and really sort of the brainchild behind putting this thing in place, and also happens to run our data center. He's been there since April. We're looking forward to his confirmation in the next few weeks and for his service for years to come. So please welcome Director Ron Hughes.
All right, well, thank you, Carlos. And I'd like to echo what Carlos said. Thank you all for attending. We've got terrific turnout today. Almost 1,200 people registered. So thank you all for taking the time to be here. I'd also like to thank the speakers. We have speakers from all over the country that have flown in to be at this forum. Thank you all for taking the time to be here. I know how much work it is to put those presentations together. I'd also like to thank our board members. We have a board that helped put this conference together. They spent hundreds of hours making sure we had the right speakers and that we had the right topics. So again, thank you for all your hard work. I'd like to thank the sponsors as well, and the sponsors will be up on the board here. Without the sponsors, this conference would not have been possible. Without the sponsors, this conference would not have been free. So when you see a sponsor in the hallway, thank them for participating, for stepping up to the plate. And lastly, I'd like to thank Russ and his team. Russ spent thousands of hours putting this conference together. And I know that's true because he sent me thousands of emails. In fact, I was telling somebody yesterday, I don't know what I'm going to do with all my free time when Russ no longer emails me 8 or 10 times a day. The format of this conference is really straightforward. There's 3 tracks. There's an executive, a management, and a technology track. So if you want, you can stay in the same room and listen to the same track, or if you're like me, you'll look at what individual topics you're interested in and move around from track to track and session to session. There's a lab on the second floor where we've actually set up cloud systems, so you can actually get your hands on those cloud systems, you can provision resources. It's a great opportunity to get some hands-on experience. I'd encourage all of you to visit there during the day. I'd also encourage you to visit the Solution Center next door. That's an opportunity to actually sit down to vendors that are actually providing cloud services. Again, I think it's a great opportunity for you to talk to people and ask the questions of them that you might have as to how cloud services work. And there's going to be appetizers there at lunchtime, so it'd be a great place to be at lunchtime. As Carlos said, I would encourage everybody to network. I honestly think one of the biggest values of these conferences is a chance to talk to your peers. So again, I'd encourage everybody to take care of that. Those of you that have been involved in IT long term, you've watched as the way we deliver IT services has evolved. We've moved to highly virtualized environments. We've consolidated our data centers. And really, I think the next step in the evolution of the way we deliver IT services is cloud services. I was at a CIO conference a couple of months ago, and there wasn't a whole lot that everybody agreed upon, but the one thing every major CIO from every major city was doing was they were looking to implement cloud services in 2013. It was the one thing we all agreed upon. I can't speak for the way every government entity is going to deliver IT services in California, but I can tell you the way the state of California is going to do it. We're going to implement a private cloud located on our raised floor. We're going to contract for a public cloud service offering, and we're going to open that up to local government entities to utilize. So that's the direction the state of California is going. I really believe that offering cloud services is going to fundamentally change the way we deliver IT services in the state. It's going to make us much more successful. And I really believe it's the future of IT services, which kind of brings me to introducing our first keynote speaker. He's a futurist for Intel, so he's going to tell us the way things may be in 10 to 15 years. He refuses to tell me who will win the Super Bowl, but anyway, could we have a big round of applause for Brian David Johnson?